Okay, so I was using Ampify GrooveBox, which I've owned for, I guess, 6 months, and I was just playing around with it, and I had sort of this sound going on. Anyway, I had like a drum pattern, had a bass part. I had this little melody thing going on here. And I noticed by watching a video that you could create a song of all these different sections. It looks like this. So basically, you could have a section like this. That section's made up of 4 different parts. And you could duplicate that section. Let's say in this section you just wanted the drums. You could delete the pattern, notes there, and just have bass and drums. So the sum of all of these sections could be made into a song, which is great, except that I can't figure out how it transitions from one section to the next. So I hit play. And I'm expecting it to go to the next section of the song. But it doesn't. It doesn't go to the next section. It just keeps playing this section over and over again. So you actually have to click on the section to initiate the next part. And if you look closely in a section, it has a number of bars. So you can see there's like 4 dashes there. That means that that little cell is 4 bars long. So I actually have to click on each section. So I can't figure out how to execute the entire song. So then I thought, well, what if I export everything I've got here? So I'm exporting it as WAV files. Curious how many I'm going to get since I have all those different sections of this song. Wondering if it creates a separate file for each cell in that grid. I don't know. So I'm saving this into my download directory on my iPad. Okay. And then I go to Files. I go take a look at my iPad, Downloads, and it's this zip file called Sublime Error. When I unzip it, I got 17 files. So it looks like it creates one for each section. Yeah, and look, they're labeled Section 7, Channel 4, C minor, 100 beats per minute. So then I thought, okay, I could pull these into GarageBand. So I opened up GarageBand. See where that is. There we go. The way you'd bring them in is through the clip browser. You have to browse files, Sublime Error 2. And then, so you've got like a file, let's say this 4th one here. It loads it into GarageBand's clip browser. And then you can drag it in, creates a separate track. So those ones that I Essentially, within GarageBand then, once you've got all the sections in there, you could move these around. I guess you could loop them, right? You get the idea. So it might be easier to make a song out of all these things in GarageBand. But what would be really good is if you could orchestrate the song from this screen. And, GrooveBox has all kinds of other features, like you can mix, right? There's a mixer where you can control the volume of each sound. And you can change the key, and you can change the tempo. But I can't get it to execute the entire song. I was looking under settings for something that controls that, but I don't see anything there. Hey, for the record, I really like Ampify GrooveBox. In fact, I like most of the apps that are available from Ampify, which is owned by Novation. But the GrooveBox in particular, I think, is a brilliant idea because you can run it on your iPhone or your iPad, and it makes use of iOS as opposed to a dedicated GrooveBox with its own hardware, which is much harder to upgrade. In my case, I paid for the Pro features, and what that does is extends the capability of each one of the synthesizers and gives you a bunch more features that were fairly inexpensive, and I really enjoy it. If you're new to this and you haven't seen it before, you might as well download it for free. You get a limited number of presets with it, and you don't get access to all of the synthesizer capabilities, but it's fun to play around with, and it's pretty good. If you haven't seen this before, let me just walk you through some of the basics. So you can create a project and click the plus button. It gives it a silly name, but essentially you're opening a blank project, and you have access to these 5 synthesizers: a drum box, a polysynth, a monosynth, mono analog, and another poly. And you can have as many instances of these synthesizers as you like. So you can use, the drum box twice or Horizon twice. And essentially you start with one. And what you're seeing are presets for that particular synth. So in the case of the drum box, it defaulted to this EDM smash. And if I play, every time I tap on one of these presets, it cycles through different sounds. Once you have one you like, you can click load. There's a step editor you can use. You see at the bottom it's of length 4 bars, but it shows you 2 at a time. Then you can go back, add another synth. Again, you can enter the melodic information through the step editor, or you can play it on this quasi keyboard down below. You can add more sounds. So what I've done now is I just created a groove with these 5 different instruments. You can mute them by dragging your thumb up. Then you go into the sections mode where you can duplicate this section. And eliminate some of the patterns or copy and paste a pattern. Couple options. You can export group of sounds you've created as a project file or as a section mix, and there is integration with Ableton Live. You'll see there's a record button off to the right. That record button will record the automation as well as the notes. So if you make changes to this particular drum machine by applying effects, pitch, or some kind of change, you can record that automation dynamically and have it play back. Those are the basics. Download it, enjoy it, have fun.
If topics like this interest you, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and you'll find out when I release new videos.